All right, let's talk about something we take for granted every single day. Something so fundamental we barely even notice it. Time itself. We're about to dig in and challenge some of our most basic ideas about what the past, present, and future really are. You know that feeling, right? That time is like a river, just flowing along, carrying us with it. The past is behind us, the future is up ahead, and right now, this very second is the only thing that's truly real. It's a powerful feeling. But what if it's completely wrong? So, on one hand, you've got our intuition, what some philosophers call presentism. It's simple. Only the now is real. But then, physics, specifically Einstein's physics, comes along with this wild idea called the block universe. And in that version of reality, the past, the present, and the future, they're all equally real. They all exist simultaneously. The future isn't some unwritten mystery. It's already there, just like the past is. To get our heads around this, here's the game plan. First, we're going to dive into Einstein's block universe. Then, we'll try to figure out the arrow of time. Why we only seem to move in one direction. After that, things get weird with the paradox of free will. And finally, we'll bring it all back home and talk about the time that exists inside your own head. Okay, first up, Einstein's block universe. And to really get this, you have to throw out that whole river metaphor we just talked about. I want you to picture something else entirely. Think of it like a giant cosmic loaf of bread. So here's the big idea. Imagine the entire lifespan of the universe, from the Big Bang to its very end, is one single loaf of bread. Every single moment in time is just one slice of that loaf. Your birth, that's a slice. This moment right now, as you're listening, that's another slice. Your 100th birthday party, it's just another slice further down the loaf. In the block universe, all those slices already exist, all at once. They're all equally real. So why on earth did physicists come up with such a bizarre idea? Well, it all falls out of Einstein's theory of relativity. What he showed is that the concept of now isn't universal. Two things that happen at the exact same time for you could happen at different times for someone else who's just moving at a different speed. Your now isn't the same as their now. And if there's no single universal now that everyone agrees on, well, then the distinction between past, present, and future kind of falls apart. They all have to be on the same foot. Okay, but wait. If every single moment already exists, that brings up a huge, obvious question. This is the big one, isn't it? If the future is just as real and solid as the past, why can we remember one and not the other? Why does it feel so strongly like we're moving in one direction and one direction only? Well, the best answer we have comes from a field called thermodynamics and a concept called entropy. You can just think of entropy as a measure of messiness or disorder. See, the universe started out in a very neat, tidy, highly ordered state. That's low entropy. But the second law of thermodynamics is a fundamental rule that says things always get messier. Disorder always increases. And it's that one-way street from order to disorder that seems to give us our arrow of time. We remember the past because it was more orderly, and we move towards a future that is, by its very nature, more chaotic. So this isn't just a feeling we have. It's not some illusion. As this quote gets at, the arrow of time is a real physical thing that pops into existence because of how things, like you and me, interact with the universe around us. Our very being creates a before and an after. And now we get to the part that really starts to mess with your head. If the future is already set in that block universe, what does that mean for our choices? I mean, are you really choosing anything at all? So to really get into this, let's walk through a little thought experiment from a paper that explores this exact problem. It wonders if our actions right now could be, in a sense, entangled with our future actions in a way that just erases free will. So here's the setup. Picture a guy named Max. He's standing there at 3:59 p.m. looking at a time machine. And then, poof, a second time machine appears right next to it. And sitting inside is, well, it's him. An exact copy of Max. Definitely weird, but hang in there. Right on the dot at 4 p.m., the copy of Max, the one that just showed up, he gets out of his machine, walks over to the original time machine, gets in, and bam, he's off to the future, and the original Max is just standing there watching this whole thing happen. And here is the brain-melting part. Max's future is now locked in. He's seen what he's going to do. He can't decide to get in the other machine or go for a walk because he has already witnessed his future self getting into that first machine. As the paper puts it, his present and future are now entangled. In a very real sense, the choice was made for him before he even had a chance to make it. In a world like that, what does free will even mean? Okay, let's all take a deep breath. That is some heavy, potentially depressing stuff. This physics model seems to point to a universe where our choices are questionable. But let's pivot for a second. Let's move away from the cosmos and talk about the one place where time is absolutely real and flexible, inside your own mind. Because, look, no matter what the ultimate reality of space-time turns out to be, our experience of time is something else entirely. And how we think about our past, present, and future has a huge, tangible effect on the life we lead. Psychologists actually have a term for this, your time perspective. It's the default way you frame your life. So ask yourself, which of these feels like you? Are you always looking back with fondness, or are you stuck on old regrets? Do you live completely for the pleasure of the moment, or are you always planning for a future that's just around the corner? Where you choose to put your mental focus changes everything. And this isn't just feel-good talk, it has real biological consequences. Take coaching, for instance. When you focus on your future goals, what's called a positive emotional attractor, you literally activate the creative, calm and connect parts of your nervous system. But if you focus on your past mistakes and problems, a negative emotional attractor, you kickstart your body's fight or flight stress response. You can actually change your body's chemistry just by changing where you point your attention in time. So this brings us to a fascinating final question. On one side, you've got the time of physics, this static, four-dimensional block where everything is already written. And on the other, you've got the time in your mind, this dynamic, powerful experience that you can learn to control and shape. So, which one is more real for the life you're actually living? Maybe the answer is that they're both true in their own way. Maybe the universe really is just a fixed block of stone. But your perspective, your focus, your attention, that's the chisel. And you get to decide what kind of sculpture you carve out of your slice of that stone.